Hey guys, so today I'm gonna show you how I make my banana crumb loaf, okay? It is super delicious, very moist, has all the nooks and cranny crumble topping with this beautiful frosting on top, and is absolutely delicious for breakfast. All right, so this is how it looks, and I'm doing this video for one of my friend's daughters who wanted the recipe so she could make it herself. We're going to start off with 2 cups of all-purpose flour. You want to sift your flour. You don't have to, but it definitely makes mixing much easier, okay? So sift your flour if you want, but like I said, makes it much easier. If you don't want to, that's okay. You can use a hand mixer and mix it, but I'm using a Danish dough hook to mix this batter, okay? And I like to push through the little clumps to just get them nice and fine. I don't throw them away. All right. And then I'm going to add in 1 cup of white sugar. And then 1 tablespoon of baking powder. And a ½ teaspoon of salt. You can use fine sea salt, kosher salt, pink Himalayan sea salt. Then we're going to go ahead and add in our spices. I'm doing 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and ½ teaspoon of ground nutmeg. And you're going to strain all of this through your strainer. And that is it for your dry ingredients. You're going to mix this up really nice together with your spatula or a wooden spoon, or, you know, just with a spoon, whatever you have. All right, you don't need nothing fancy, I promise. Just mix this all up really nice and get it all combined evenly. All right, so now we're going to make a little well for our wet ingredients after we've combined and mixed all the dry ingredients. We're going to add in 1 egg. If you're not comfortable cracking eggs into your bowls, definitely crack it into a separate bowl, check for shells, and then add it in. And then we're going to add in our 1 cup of milk, our 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. You can use avocado oil if you like. Okay. I'm also going to add in a ½ teaspoon of almond extract. And I'm just going to give this like just a little quick gentle mix, not mixing everything right away. Okay, as far as bananas go, so if your bananas are still pretty looking, you can definitely get away with using 3 of them. But if they look kind of like this, just use 2. They get really sweet. If you want to use 3, go right ahead. That's perfectly fine. But when they're like this, I use 2 of them. Okay, and I just use a fork to crush them. I don't want to overly mash them because I want like bits and pieces and chunks of banana in the loaf, okay? So it kind of makes like little slices, you know, with the fork. So I'm just going to add this in. And then now you can go ahead and combine the previous wet ingredients that we lightly mix, and then just bring it all together. By the way, the thing I'm using, the tool, is called a Danish dough hook. I actually got it in a set that I bought for sourdough bread baking. So if you guys were curious about what it was. And excuse my children in the background. They're watching Christmas movies. All right, you guys, so once you get this nice and combined, this is how it should look. Okay, it's gonna be like thick like this, almost like pancake batter, and you're gonna be able to see the banana chunks in there. It's really good to have the banana chunks in there when you make slices. Well, when you cut slices, you'll be able to see the banana chunks instead of like finally mushing it up, you know, then you can't really see the banana. All right, so now we're gonna make the crumble. So we're using 1/2 cup or a ½ cup of brown sugar and a ½ cup of all-purpose flour. We're going to mix this together. I forgot to add the brown sugar in my strainer to sift it. So there were some clumps in there, so I just broke it up with my wooden spoon. But definitely sift the sugar so you don't have to deal with the clumps, okay? All right, you guys, so now we are going to add our 1.5 teaspoon of cinnamon powder or ground cinnamon. I just say cinnamon powder. But yes, ground cinnamon. You're gonna add that to your dry ingredients, and then we are going to melt about 3 tablespoons of salted butter. All right, I just melted in the microwave, and then I just added over the mixture, and then now we're going to mix this together, and it's going to form that crumbly texture that is going to be the topping of our banana loaf. I must say, I didn't realize how good my banana loaf was until my sister-in-law and brother-in-law came up, and my father-in-law and my mother-in-law came up for our baby shower this year, and 2 of my subscribers were able to come up as well for the baby shower, and they got to try it out for themselves. So, you know, I'm glad they got to try it and let me know for themselves that they loved it. So that's why I'm making this video for one of their daughters and for the other one, so her and her son could also make the banana loaf, okay? But once I finish making my crumble topping, okay, I'm going to line my loaf pan with some parchment. You don't need nonstick spray, so just line it. And then you're going to add in your batter that you made earlier, okay? And now we're going to add our crumble topping on top of that batter. Do not mix this in. You're just leaving it right on the top of the loaf, okay? You could spread it out lightly, but you want this to be kind of piled up high, okay? Also, this loaf is going to double in size depending on the depth of your pan. So if your pan is a little bit more shallow, it's going to get really, really high. This pan is a decent depth, so it comes up just enough. All right. As you guys see, I gently just move it around with my wooden spoon. You're not pushing this into the batter. Okay. Make sure you have your oven preheated at 350 degrees Fahrenheit once you're completely done. Okay, so put this on while you're doing your, putting your loaf together. And you're going to bake this for about 65 minutes to 70 minutes. Make sure you use a shish kebab stick or a toothpick to check it. It should come out clean when it is ready. Now to make the frosting, I'm using 1 cup of confectioner's sugar. I had a little bit left in this bag and just kind of topped it off with a little bit more from another bag. But 1 cup is enough. And then you're going to add in 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. If you don't have heavy whipping cream, you can use half and half. That's just fine. If you don't have half and half, just use milk. And I added 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract and about 2 tablespoons of softened cream cheese. I'm just going to give this a rough mix. And then I'm going to go in with 2 tablespoons of whole milk. Okay. I've made this frosting glaze a few times before, and in the beginning it was always a little too transparent for my liking, and I wanted it a more opaque white. So this is why I make it like this, and it tastes better to me. All right, so we're just gonna whip this and mix this together to get all the clumps out. Make sure your cream cheese is softened. If it's still kind of cold, microwave it for about 10 to 20 seconds to soften it up. And we're just going to drizzle this over our cooled, semi-cooled off loaf. It's still warm, so it'll help the frosting glaze drizzle kind of melt over the sides a bit, to give it that nice dripped look. And then we're going to cut our first slice, the end piece, which a lot of people like the end piece because it has like a slight crunch to it, and it has more of a caramelized flavor to it because it's the end piece. I prefer the center slices, okay? But I hope you guys try it. If you do, please let me know. Tag me on Instagram at Cooking with Queenie. If you try this, I would love to see. Let me know what you think about it in the comments section if you try it for yourself. And I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope my friend's daughter enjoys it as well. Love you guys, and I'll see you very soon in another video. Bye, guys.